episode of Alumni Talks brought to you by Shivajirao Jondhale College of Engineering and its IEEE Student Branch. I would like to begin with thanking our management, our principal sir Dr. J.W. Bakil for his encouragement, Professor P.R. Rodge and Dr. Uttara Bogate for their constant support. This part of webinar series is slightly different. We will be having with us alumni from our college, that is Shivajirao Jondhale College of Engineering. I'm sure everyone is excited. Let's get started. Learning has a beginning but no end. And so here we are, learning new things, new skills, and creating new self every day, even in this pandemic. Learning is not just about understanding fresh new concepts. It's also about discarding our old understanding and embracing new perspectives. Perspective to look at things differently, to solve problems differently, and most importantly, to look at ourselves differently. We dwell in self-doubt so much that more often than not, we forget our own worth. To help us understand this better, we have with us the very talented Mr. Davis Thomson. He believes that the industry does not decide how much we are paid. We do. He will discuss with us today what defines our worth and what we can do to make us worth the money. He is a quick learner and a solutions ninja. He has worked as a manager for various corporate domains. He's currently working as business development manager at 3 Minds Digital. Welcome, Davis. We are looking forward to your session. The screen is all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ruby, and the College of Jondhale for basically, giving me this time. I'm an alumni, and that is something that I can say, right now, and I'm privileged to say that. I really love and appreciate how the college is doing, and I was discussing recently with Darshan Mane, who was the general secretary, I think before I was, and we were actually discussing and telling how good Jondhale College is doing now in terms of the activities that and the different initiatives that the college is doing, and it's very encouraging to basically see that, and I'm sure the college is heading towards the right direction. So first, once again, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I am not, a guru. I am not, some specialist, but rather I'm just a normal person who likes to basically, figure things out, see things differently, and that is something that I've been doing since college times, and I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So the topic that I wanted to kind of take today was pretty simple. It is basically, how do you understand what you're worth, or rather, how do you make somebody pay you for what you are worth? And for that, I'll probably take you through some different perspective that I think I have been applying so far in my life, and that is something that you guys, of course, can take it and be on par with other colleges and other people who are getting paid well. So this is something that I'm also experiencing right now. This is something that I'm also applying in my life, and I hope that you guys can join me in that journey. All right. So just sharing my screen, and hopefully. All right. Now, one of the first things that you'll realize, this is another skill that I've learned. I'm an electronics and telecommunications student, but this is a tool that is being used by UI UX designers, and this is an Adobe XD tool, right? So yeah, so this is things that you learn. There's different tools that you learn, and it helps you do a lot more things. There are things that I would not have been able to do on PowerPoint presentation, but I'm able to do things over here, right? So first thing, you learn as much tools as possible. Don't just stick to PowerPoint presentation, that is enough, and all of those things. No, explore, have the curiosity, just kind of look, okay, what is this tool, or what is that technology, what is that language. I'm an electronics and communication student, but I know Angular, I know HTML, I know CSS, I know a little bit about PHP, I know all of these languages. I mean, is that required? No, it's not. I don't need to know that. But at the same time, it's a knowledge that you have. It is, extra knowledge that you can actually take and apply it somewhere, or join an IT company, and then, might as well use that language, right? So first things, what are we going to do today, right? Three things, three major things. We try to understand why skills is important. We try to understand, um, how do you decide your worth, or what is your worth. And third, we decide how, if you've realized that you're worth, let's say 200 rupees an hour, how are you going to make it 2000 rupees an hour, right? So that's basically something that we're going to understand very soon, and hopefully I might be able to give you a fresh perspective in how you can go about it, right? So the first things, let's go to skills. All right. So um, in the 19th century, right, we had this industrial revolution. Everybody has studied that in history. You've heard your history teacher talk about a lot of things in the French Revolution, Industrial Revolution, American Revolution. There's a lot of revolution that I've learned about. But one of the major things that you'll notice that a revolution was able to do is that a lot of inventions were brought in, a lot of new technologies came in. Things that were once handheld were now being made on machines. Things that once were made by stitching were now done using the spinning wheel, right? So let's take an example of a manual worker in the 19th century, and then we'll compare, you know, a machine worker who is in the current, uh, you know, uh, current century, right? So first thing, the types of jobs that were available during the 19th century, and I'm telling this before 1980s, right? So this is basically, you had masons, you had artisans, you had coal workers, you had sewage cleaners. So a list of people, all of them were manual workers, right? These were people who were known for specific things. Like if you look at somebody, like, if you were living in a village and you saw somebody, you will see some of these people are very specific jobs, right? I mean, if they're a mason, they're a mason. If they're an artisan, they're an artisan. They don't know anything else, but they were known for one particular thing, right? Now when you come to the 20th century, all of these jobs that were there in the 19th century are still there. But because of a lot of inventions, because of a lot of things, cloud engineering came into picture. Because cloud servers came into the picture, a lot of new jobs were being made. Before even cloud computing, you had, on-prem servers. For that specifically, you had a lot of jobs based on that, right? And now just imagine, during these times we had data scientists. You didn't have that in the 19th century. You had developers. You didn't have that in the 19th century. You have digital marketers. You didn't have that earlier. You just had, you know marketing or maybe branding as one particular subject. But now you have ATL and BTL, which is above the line and below the line marketing, because of, digital uh, uh, avenues coming into the picture, right? And then you have UI UX designers, you have UX researchers, a lot of things that come in because of certain changes, or because of some things that come into the picture in terms of technology, or in terms of doing things differently. Nowadays you even have jobs like Scrum Leader. You have jobs like project owner. You have product owners. I mean, what are these? I mean, these are things that are not needed. I mean, but still companies still have it. Why? Because there are, and certain outcome that is measured. Like for example, let's say someone like a Scrum Leader. Okay, what does a Scrum Leader do, his main job role is only to make sure that the work is done properly. That is it. Okay, it follows a particular standard, it follows a particular order, right? That is it. He has a certificate that he needs, and then he will be titled a Scrum Master. Okay, he goes into a meeting, he sits there, he listens, he updates. That is it. Okay, but um, um, does he have a certain skill? Yes, his skill is basically project management. Simple. He's good at it. He's process oriented, right? So we'll get into the gist of it at a later stage, but I just wanted to kind of lay the area as to what makes newer skill come into the market. It is external changes that creates new skills. Okay, things that basically, like for example, there are skills like um, let's say an Azure cloud engineer. Okay, Azure, as you know, is basically a cloud server of Microsoft, right? Now, if you want to work with a company that utilizes Azure as a cloud server, then you need to have the certificate. Okay, and then when you have the certificate, you are skilled or certified as a cloud Azure cloud engineer, right? I mean, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of jobs that are in demand right now for it. You can have a look at it, you can see how you can basically learn it. These are all free to learn, but for certification you have to go ahead and then give 15-20,000, right? Now let's go to the history, right, of skills. Now let's consider this particular character. His name is Al Gore, and he is from, let's say, the 16th century. Okay, he's a warrior, he's a person who is an excellent swordsman. Okay, now Al Gore is a 7-foot giant, right? He has excellent swords, he's an excellent swordsman, like a person who uses swords in the war and everything. He's killed at least 500 people so far. Okay, known for his super steel sword with the gold and leather handle. Okay, this is Al Gore. Now, 7-foot giant, is that something that he worked for? No, that's a given, that God's blessing. Okay, you've got it, right? Excellent swordsman, that's his skill. Okay, is that a given? Does it come when he was born? No, right? He's basically worked for it, he's practiced it, right? He's gone to a sword school or something, like he's gone to a school where he is learning the skill of swordsmanship, right? Now because of the skill, he was able to kill 500 people, right? And this is basically in the war, right? I mean, he's killing for his country. Now he's known for his super steel sword with the golden leather handle. So is this important? Yes, it is important because that is his tool, right? It's the most strongest steel that he's using in the war. And because of that, that steel never breaks. That steel penetrates very well into the enemy. And that steel is what makes him the best swordsman, right? It's the tool that is using it. Now, he's the only one with that kind of sword. Why? Because it was specifically made by Ornamen the Steelsmith. Now, you should notice that Steelsmith is another skill. Okay. Now, this skill is used by someone else to make Al Gore a great sword. So, so if you understand, how this entire system works, right? I mean, a skill is needed to make a new skill. Okay. So if Shruvi, for that matter, if she's a teacher, um, and if she's not a great teacher, she won't get Davis as a great student, right? So for Davis to become an excellent student, Shruvi has to be a great teacher. Two different skills, right? I mean, one is Davis's ability or skill to grasp what Shruvi is telling properly. So for Shruvi to make sure that Davis is grasping everything that Shruvi is speaking, and Shruvi has to be an excellent orator. Shruvi has to be an excellent a person who knows about the subject, so a subject matter expert, right? So these are all skills that you need, right? So everything is dependent on everything, right? Like for a person to have a great skill, he or she needs to be taught by somebody who already has another skill. Okay, now that's what we're going to see. Now let's talk about Ornan the steelsmith. Okay, now Ornan has great strength. Okay, he has 100% strength. He takes 5 days to make a sword. Okay, and so far he has made 20 swords. Okay, and he makes swords only for those who have the grit, right? So the he doesn't make sword for everybody. He makes it only for someone, right? And that is the specialty. Okay, so 100% strength, he gets it by daily exercise. He eats a lot of fatty foods and he gets his strength that way, right? Now what if Ornan did not have the strength? Will he still be able to make good swords? I don't think so. Maybe he would be great at making swords, or maybe ideating ki, okay, this sword should be made like this, like this, like this, and it can be made as a great sword. But maybe he can still do it by telling someone else with 100% strength to make that sword, right? But let's still consider Ornan to have 100% strength. It takes 5 days to make a sword, right? He has a foundry to forge the amazing steel swords. He has all the equipments with him, and he has the skill to make a sword in 5 days, right? Normally a sword can take around, I don't know, let's say it takes around 20 days for everyone else, but for Ornan it takes 5 days. Okay, that's a skill. Okay, so far he has made 20 swords. So, and you should notice that all of these 20 swords are going to someone who is a master swordsman like Al Gore. Okay, a normal swordsman won't have his sword. Okay, so next thing that we see is that he makes swords for only, so that's his USP, right? That is, like now you have, okay, why is L'Oreal expensive and why is or let's say Patanjali not so expensive, right? So that's the thing, that's the USP, that's the brand, right? So any sword that Ornan makes, he makes it only for specific people and he charges a lot for it. Okay, so that is what we are seeing over here is basically, different type of people with different skills, and how they are basically, known for those skills, right? Earlier we used to have Al Gore as only known as a swordsman, like an excellent swordsman. If he goes to one country, he's basically praised in the country as, a swords person. But if you talk about Ornan, okay, Ornan is that guy who made Al Gore a particular sword, right? And he's known because what if Ornan did not have that skill? Because of Al Gore, Ornan is also famous. So because of, let's say, because of Davis, Shruvi is also famous because, Davis became a great student. He was basically, he won the Nobel Prize. He went and, kind of gave a speech and said, it's because of my teacher that I am here. It's because of Shruvi that I am here, right? So skills matter. And also, let's say a particular person needs to have a skill, someone else need to actually train him or has to be skilled to train him. Okay, this is how skills work. Okay, now let's take in today's world, right? In we saw how it works in the history. We'll now see how it used to work currently. Now Davis has logical reasoning skills. He has he's a front end developer. Okay, he's made 50 dynamic websites. He takes 10 days to make one website, and he has already, maybe let's say, around 5 years of experience working with a top design agency. He has done BTech from a tier one, college. He's got his diploma in design thinking from Stanford, and he worked with clients like Pepsi, Parle, Agro, Marico, etc. Okay. Now, logical reasoning skills, again, same, right? Humans have not changed, right? It's God's gift, right? Again, the front end development, is a skill that he has mastered, right? Because he knows front end development, he was able to make websites. Okay, so he has made around 50 dynamic websites. Okay, now what is his USP? He takes only 10 days to make a website, right? So which means if a business wants to basically have a website, they don't have to wait for 1 month. They know that Davis Thomson can make a website in 10 days. Great, amazing. Now, also he has had around 5 years of experience working with a top design agency, right? That is his experience. Now, his education, he's learned from, he's done his BTech from a tier 1 college. He's done his diploma in design thinking from Stanford, right? And he's also had his experience working with clients like Pepsi, Parley Agro, and Marico. Now, that is basically his experience. Now, what I'm trying to say is that uh, Davis, if he has to work with, let's say, Apple, okay, Apple will easily take him. Okay, why? Not because of his certificates. Okay, he doesn't have an extra certificate or an extra education. If you notice, he has great experience. His skills basically allow Apple to release, have a faster deployment. What I mean by deployment is that, if there is something that Apple wants to make, let's say a new app, okay, Davis will be able to, normally Apple was doing one app in, let's say, 3 months. Okay, 3 months is what Apple normally takes in making an app. If i if i hire Davis, I can reduce 3 months to, let's say, 1 month. So what happens is that Apple can then release that app quicker and start earning money. So is Davis's certificate making any difference? No, it's not. It's his ability to make things in a quicker time to basically make Apple hire him. Now, so that is a skill. Certificates is not a skill. Okay, you go after certificate, you go after, you spend 15,000, you spend whatever amount of money, it is not going to help you. It's not going to basically give you much higher salary. That is not, a certificate does not decide what you're worth. Okay, it is that experience, it is that skill that is going to give you or decide what you're worth, right? You might have heard of Sundar Pichai getting, let's say 12 million USD as a salary. Why? What does he do? He's not coding, he's not doing anything, but his one signature on any deal gets Google $1 billion deal, right? So that is his value, right? He's a CEO, that is his value, his years of experience that has come. I don't think, Sundar Pichai has a certification in, Google Cloud. I don't think so, right? So if everyone was, see, that is the ultimate thing. So this is a perspective that I want everybody to understand. You don't run after certificates, right? Even if you don't have certificates, you are able to demonstrate your skills. Fantastic, nothing like it. Okay, nothing like it. So that is basically, what I wanted to differentiate. Nothing has changed from history and the current part, right? If Al Gore as a swordsman was known because of his ability to kill 500 people and basically, kind of use the sword in a specific manner, and he's known and worshipped in the country because of his skills and not because of his, of the sword that he's using, right? He's not known because of the sword, he is known because of his swordsmanship. At the same time, the one who made that sword is known because of his mastery. He's known because as that person who can make a sword in 10 days, as he's known as that person who can make a sword that will never break. He's known as that person who does not make a sword for anyone and everyone. He makes it for specific people, right? That were the metrics in history. Even in the current stage, it's the same metrics. Nothing has changed, it's only that things like technology might have changed a little, that is it. But everyone else is still known then and today is known for their skills. Okay. um, Now let's go ahead, right? We try to, now that we have established what decides your worth, right? We have established that it's not the certificate, it's basically your skills that decide what you're worth, right? And now let's probably try and understand how you should basically come to a assumption that, okay, this is how much I should be worth, right? How can you basically come to that point, right? So first thing, know your purpose. Okay. There are, I think, at least 2 in 3 people who don't know what they're doing in life, right? 2 in 3 people at least who don't know what they're doing in life. What is their ultimate goal, right? I mean, if I was to take, start my bike and then just, leave my building, not knowing where I have to go, I can go. I mean, I can just keep moving on my bike. But at the end of the day, if I don't know what my destination is, it makes no sense. You're just burning your fuel, right? So know your purpose. So my purpose, as far as I know, is basically to give a platform for excellence. Okay, in anything. Like, that is my ultimate goal. That's basically to do something that encourages others to become excellent at what they do. That is my ultimate purpose, right? I know this. So now, once you know your purpose, learn and execute your skill. Okay. Because if your ultimate goal is, let's say, for example, um, to make sure that people have beautiful homes to live, okay, maybe you need to learn how to make a home. You need to probably learn architecture. You would want to learn design. You would want to learn, going down how to lay a brick, or maybe what kind of cement to use, what is the right texture, or okay, all of these things are basically skills that you need to know. Now once you have learned it, go ahead and execute it. Okay. You have learned that, you've learned how to design, you've learned how to basically come up, you've learned how the basics of architecture, all of these things you've learned, go ahead, execute it, start at the bottom level, right? I mean, normally what people do is basically, okay, right after engineering, they're like, okay, I've spent 4 lakhs in engineering, now I want to directly go and become a manager. That's not how it works. Start at the very bottom. It's okay if you're getting 10,000, that's okay. That's okay. Go start at the very bottom. You've learned a lot of things in the last 4 years. Go ahead and execute it. And then tangify your output. This is what people don't do. You know what? In this CV, they write worked as a business development manager, worked as a, as a circuit engineer. You worked as, yeah, of course, everybody knows you worked as this thing, but what was the output, right? If you tell me that, okay, as an architecture, I designed in my first year, I designed 10 buildings, or rather, I designed 10 buildings in 5 months. Impressive. That's how you tangify things, right? Or else, as a developer, let's say you're a front end designer, you say, okay, I built 50 websites. Okay, I built 50 websites in 10 months. You tangify things, make people understand, okay, you are a person who gives out this much of your output. Like, these are the different things that if I basically hire you, this is what I can expect from you. right? Don't put this in your CV. Like, I worked with TCS. I worked as a development, enterprise software manager. All that. Nah, it doesn't matter. What did you do? Like, tangify it, right? So you can basically explain, kind of just ask this to yourself. If TCS pays me 50,000 rupees per month, what will they get from me? If you're able to get this answer, great. Work like maybe 10 years down the line, you want to work with TCS. 10 years down the line, you want to work with TCS at a salary of 1 lakh per month. Okay. So then you should know, okay, so to basically get into TCS, what should I do? Backtrack, right? Backtrack from there. Like, my ultimate goal is someday to work with Google, right? Someday as a product evangelist, right? As a product evangelist, I need to be some way affiliated to product, as as a work, right? So then what do? I start as a software development, or maybe get into development basically. So did I do that? Yeah, that was my first job. I tried to understand development, or maybe the basics of development. Okay, what next? Okay, I need to know a little bit about marketing. So then what should I do? Basically, try to take a little bit knowledge, try to work, execute some campaigns here and there, AdWords, all of those things. Once that is done, then what next? Okay, I need to be basically understanding a little bit about branding. I need to understand a little bit about maybe how business development works. So I mean, your goal, your direction, what skills is going to take, you know what output you are able to do or give, right? At the end of the day, you're going to get something that you desire. That's how you basically understand, okay, I need to be paid 50,000 a month, and this is how I'm going to basically achieve it. Simple, right? Now, your experience helps you grow your worth. Okay. Nothing else. It's not your certificate. It's not anything else where you worked. No, nothing matters. I know people who have worked at Qualcomm. I know people who have worked at Motorola, and after 1-2 years they come out, same salary, right? Same salary. Why? Because they were not able to basically convince that, okay, if you are going to hire me, you're going to get this much of output, or this is what I'm capable of, right? So skills enable you to have quality experience. Now, basically, if you need to have, let's say, for example, you want to be a full stack developer, or you want to basically be, let's say, a full stack developer lead, someone who heads the development team, right? For that, what do you need? You first need to know coding. You need to know, you need to have managerial skills. You need to know deployment. You need to basically know, even with regards to security or testing, all of those things. You need to basically understand all the facets of development. That's when you go and become a project lead, or like a front end development lead. Like, how that's how you become at the top of that team, right? So for that, you need to basically get all the skills that you need to do. Then you need to tangify your output, which will basically help you understand your work. Now, for example, um, let's say, for example, I work with TCS. Okay, in a month, TCS pays me 50,000 rupees, right? So let's do a little calculation right now. So even you can basically do this. So basically, just take a calculator, and then this is how I kind of understand what you are worth, right? So you take 50,000 per month from TCS, and you work, let's say, 22 working days in a month, right? So your per day value is 2,272 rupees. That's how much you are worth in a day. Okay. Let's say, let's say you do 1 day's work, which is 8 hours, right? You work efficiently for 8 hours with TCS. So you divide 2,272 rupees by 8. Your per hour value is 284 rupees. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm not kidding. In Kerala, if you're a person who can climb coconut trees and bring the coconut down from the coconut tree, you get paid 500 rupees. You know how much time it takes? 1 hour. So what you're trying to say is that I, who have studied 4 years of engineering, who has spent 10 lakhs into my education, entered TCS with 50,000 rupees per month. At the end of the day, my per hour value is 284 rupees. Is that justified? No, it's not. It's not. It's not justified at all. Why? Because you have not made it justified. You have not made people understand that you are worth more than 2,000 rupees. Now, how are you going to justify that you are worth 2,000 rupees? You look within the organization who is making 2,000 rupees a month, an hour, and what kind of job is he doing, and why is he getting paid? You will notice that it is not because of his certificate, it is not because of his, what he's able to do, but rather it is basically the output. कि वो 8 घंटे में what can he do in that 8 hours? Is he making more money for the company than you? Right? Everything is monetized, everything has a number to it. Okay. So um, so when you first understand what you are worth every hour, you will basically then understand what you should do to become. See, 200 se koi direct, nobody will go to 2,000 rupees an hour. Okay. You're basically supposed to, keep increasing that value. Okay. Now, how do you do that? it, let's say, for example, you take 200 rupees and the output is X, right? You have to basically make sure or find a way to make the output 2X, right? 8 ghante mein, if you're able to do 2X the amount of work, then you are basically liable to get 2X the amount that you were earning. Get my point? So now let's say, as a business analyst, as a IT business analyst, my job is to make requirement documents. Okay. Like scope of work documents. If that requirement document today, it takes, let's say, um, 20 days to make that document. Okay. Tomorrow, and I earn, let's say, 20,000. Okay. 20,000 per month is what I earn, and I make, let's say, 3 documents in a month, and I basically complete 3 documents in 20 days. Okay. Tomorrow, if I'm able to make, or maybe if I'm able to give the output as 6 documents, I am eligible to ask for more money. Right? It's as simple as that. Maybe you find, you make a template, and then you make, all the structures in place, and then you reduce the number of hours that you're doing in terms of, making everything from scratch. You find ways to do things quicker. Simple. Right? So that's how you basically tangify, and that's how you understand how to increase your worth. If you don't understand how you're going to increase your worth, you will basically not be able to improve from 200 rupees an hour to 500 rupees an hour. You won't be able to do it. But you have to basically set experience, understand, learn the experience, and then have learn the skills. Basically, maybe tomorrow I would have to learn designing, to actually make my work easier, right? So go ahead, learn designing. Once you've learned designing, your output might increase, right? So that is as simple as that. So just basically uh, try to get as much experience as possible, and make sure you get your skills in place, so that those skills can give you quality experience. And using your skills and your experience, you have to tangify how much your output is, right? And once you know what your output is, put a price tag on it. So next time you go to an HR, and they say, okay, I'll be able to give you, let's say, 5 lakhs per annum. Okay, you tell them, no ma'am, I am worth 7 lakhs per annum, because I'm able to do this, and this is something that none of the people in your organization are doing. And this is possible. I mean, nowadays, you can basically talk to an HR openly, or HRs are very open these days. They can definitely listen to what you have to say. So don't hunt behind a certificate that will take you 6 months to complete, but your value is still the same. Okay, do a certificate only if the skill demands you to, only if the job demands you to. Don't just go and spend 3 months, 4 months, and then spend that much amount of money in basically getting a particular certification. If it doesn't help, it makes no sense. I have 0 certificates with me, like 0, like nothing at all. And uh, that is not my objective, but rather the objective is basically to go and get as much skills, so that on the long run, you don't want to be a person who earns only X amount. You want to be basically somebody who earns 10X in the next 10 years, right? So these are some of the basic last words that last thoughts that I kind of add. um, my basic thought, like I was going through a lot of LinkedIn posts and seeing a lot of people doing certifications, putting it on outside and saying, hey, listen, I finished this certification, and I think I can now take up any job. No, that's not how it works, right? You have so many free certificates that you can get online. Just go and get those certificates, and then work on a project, right? If even if you're still a student, even if you're still a student, go learn front end development, learn back end development. There are so many projects that you can do yourself. um, get an idea. Okay, let's say I want to make um, let's say a website for underground musicians, so that a lot of people can basically come and listen to their music, buy merchandise. Go make a website like that. Go ahead, you don't need to spend any amount of money to do it. Like, I mean, everything is open source right now. You can go and learn everything for free, execute it, and then tangify. And by the time you are out of college, you can actually go and tell to your recruitment, to your HR, and say, okay, this is my GitHub account. I have worked on 4 different websites, and all of those 4 websites are made on so and so languages, and I took this much amount of time to make the whole thing. Why won't a particular HR pay you the same amount that person or company is paying to a front end developer who has 4 years of experience? You're doing the same thing, right? So they will pay you. And I've seen a lot of people who get paid that way. I mean, a person who used to earn 4 lakhs per annum is in the next year earning 10 lakhs per annum, because they did so and so sales in the previous company, right? So that's how you understand your worth. It's not basically wasting 1 year behind a certificate or anything. Your skills matter, your experience matter, and how you are able to present that experience. That is it. So, so to all the students, whether you are from Jondhale or whether you are from an IIT, the platform is the same. Okay. I mean, of course, I mean, there is a prejudice when it comes, when you are from IIT, you're basically, learning from the best professors in the world. And everybody knows that. It's the same scenario, right? I mean, from Al Gore, the swordsman, he was known because of the sword that was made by someone, right? So you are a byproduct of someone who is amazing, great, everyone will hire you. Okay, that's why IITians find it very easy to basically get a job, right? But at the same time, if you're able to tick mark and say, okay, this is something that you're capable of, anyone will hire you. And I wish everyone the best of luck, to basically be the best at what they do, not by getting certificates, but rather by learning, by upskilling, and by getting the experience. All of this together, tangifying things that you guys have done. Okay, if you made a website, that's okay. Only one website, that's okay. um, Tangify, okay, this is the language that you use, this is the time you took, and these are the different technologies that you use. Present it, you will get a job, and you will basically be worth the amount that you are expecting, right? Nobody else is going to basically say that you are worth only 20,000, so work. Don't go to a company like that. Tell them that you are worth 40,000 because of X and X reason, right? So that is completely possible, and I welcome anyone to basically discuss this with me, and I'll be able to help you guys. Yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you, Davis, so much. We had an excellent time, and thank you for telling us that our caliber is the thing that matters the most, and we should present it well. It has been a great session, and I'm sure it will help us in a lot of ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Davis. This was an amazing session. This would help us engineers in many ways. So, yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. Sorry. Hi, I'm Akshit Bangale. I'm the Vice Chairperson of IEEE SSJCOE. And yeah, so I would like to present a few points that you mentioned, which I found very useful in this point of time. So it is the need of the hour that an engineer who is going to get his undergrad degree to understand that the industry needs a certain set of skills and a certain set of things that he or she has done. So you mentioned that it is not only the skills but the execution of these skills is important. Like if you have done a certification in some skill, like for example you have done something related to AWS, then what projects do you have? So you should have something to show to the HR that I have done this. Now it is, now you can decide what I am worth to your organization. So yeah, you also taught us like how to calculate your worth and how to put things together. Like it is really difficult for an undergrad to get into the industry, like as a fresher, when everything is just scattered. So your session gave us the perspective to bring things together, and instead of shooting an arrow in the dark, you at least have a target after learning these things. So yeah, you also mentioned that skills, when you have the skills, you should be able to monetize it as per the company or the industry demands. And also how competence is important in an office environment, and you should be able to negotiate what you're worth in the organization in order to have a better salary. I mean, money is, I mean, I'm not talking money centric, but it is also essential to know what you're worth and what you're getting. And yeah, so there are other things which play a very big role when it comes to employment, like when you're working for a certain organization and if you're not getting better, then why would they give you more money? So you should learn to optimize your work and basically be open to learning about open to learning uh, to the to the skills which the company demands or the project demands. So yeah, I think this this is so far the best guidance we have got from an alumni, uh, and I think this will be helpful for the undergrads of 2020 as we are facing a pandemic situation. So we'll have much time to reflect and then put things together and apply for a job. So yeah, with that I conclude, and thank you so much for uh, being here, Davis. We'll look forward to have more sessions with you, and thanks a lot.